Three,
two,
one.
monkey bars. Podcast. Okay. Blue. Yeah, I like blue. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Thicc and Butter podcast. My name is Alex,
My name is Jesse.
aka Thicc. Thicc.
And my name is Butter. Butt.
Hey.
Butter.
And this is episode 72 of this wonderful weekly podcast. It's been weekly for a long time, man. We haven't
which
skipped
feels
out on a
good.
fucking week, man.
Feels good.
Feels
I haven't
real
even
good.
felt like we've gotten close to needing to skip a week too.
No.
Which I
Nope,
mean,
nope,
okay,
nope.
we are just stuck at home during COVID and isolation, so maybe that's not saying a lot, but
Says you.
it means a lot. It does mean a lot. Yeah,
I'm out on the
you're
road. I'm a
working.
frontline worker.
You're a working man now, dude. Dude, you're one of the people when they say heroes work here. You're one of those people now.
Actually, another story. We were talking off air about my job, but I'm a mailman now. Mailman Dave is here.
Wave to him on the streets. Hey, man, Dave. You have my package.
Dude, that one. If somebody, I need to get a name tag, and if someone said, "Mailman Dave," that will make my whole life.
Dude, you should like get a. Do they have like hat covers? Do you wear a hat for your job?
That's just awesome. I don't have a uniform. All I have is like a vest. I can wear it over everything.
Dude, then you need to get like a Mailman Dave hat.
I do.
Just get like a red bubble thing.
People would love that. But
that would be good Thicc and Butter merch as well. Mailman Dave, Thicc and Butter on the back.
That'll be fire. I'll wear it on my deliveries for advertisement.
Yeah. Thicc and Butter, dude. I know that. You're the guy who delivers packages. Wait, are you Baja Dave too?
Wait a minute. Wait, you're Baja Dave, Thicc Dave, and Mailman Dave in the same person?
That's a lot, dude. I'm really impressed.
My mind is blown right now. Can I get your autograph?
Only if I can get yours first, sir.
Can you sign my titty? But no, actually, when a lady, I was delivering like late at night. It was like that shift that I was talking about, and I was obviously frazzled. It was like 8 o'clock, and I still had some packages to deliver, and it was like dark out.
Yeah.
And this lady was walking her dog, and this was such a pick me up. She was like, I jumped out of my van, and she was like, are you still delivering packages? I was like, yep. And she was like, I appreciate what you do. We need you. And I was just like, cool.
Thank you.
That was cool. I mean,
that is
people are nice. You know, people are cool. Anyway, this is episode 72.
72.
If you haven't already, listen to the one previous to this, which would be, if my math is correct, 71.
72.
Which is on everything. YouTube, Apple, Podcasts, Spotify, good
Stitcher.
Old Stitcher. That episode was really cool because it was the start of our spooky month where we talked about our ranking of the alien movies, all 6 of them. Aliens, Alien 3, Alien Resurrection,
not including Alien vs. Predator.
Yeah, fuck those.
Not counting those.
Big old turds. Both of them. You want my opinion? There you go.
We don't even need to make a video on them. Didn't even need to include them.
No. But we discussed all of them.
Yeah.
We shared our in-depth thoughts on each one of the movies. It's a long one, but it is a
Yeah.
riveting one, if I do say so myself.
I felt really good about it. It was really fun to go through. And you think about even though our lists were pretty solidified, going through it again and talking about it,
Mhm.
it makes you think about like, why do I like this one here? And
Yeah,
it's
exactly
a cool
right.
thing to do.
Yeah, totally. I want to do more of those. I
Me
think my
too.
favorite one, like I would love to, since that we just love, right, like talking about filmmakers a lot, we should definitely do one for some of our favorite
Yes.
filmmakers.
Yes.
Um, I think that would be really fun. If any viewers out there have any suggestions,
Yeah.
email us, comment on the Thicc and Butter podcast Instagram, send me a
Instagram.
text because
Yeah.
all our
DM us.
friends listen to us.
Yeah. Yeah. You
You
just send a
definitely have
yeah.
my number. Um,
It'd be
but,
cool that when Quentin finally releases his final film to review
yeah,
them all again.
whatever. Final film. Give me a break.
I could see him doing it. I could.
I have such a hard time believing that.
Yeah.
He's too creatively crazy to be
Yeah.
like
Well, isn't he going to go into plays? Like he's going to drop films and just go into
dude,
plays.
I will play like a
What if he a
musical
musical? Yeah, dude.
Tarantino. I would be like front row seat to see that.
I know, dude. I would see that on
Um,
Broadway.
oh my god!
Double feature Quentin Tarantino and Wicked. I'm in. Or Quentin
Hell yeah!
Tarantino does Wicked. I'm really in.
Yeah, even better. The cast of Wicked.
It's like Wicked, but with shotguns
Right.
and cocaine and
Oh,
gangsters, gangsta witches.
Gangsters, witches.
Is it Wicked? Is just the Wizard of Oz, right?
No, well, it's a take.
With singing.
Wicked is the only. I've never seen it. Wicked is the only musical that I'm kind of aware of.
Wait.
It's a.
Oh. Eva says it's a prequel.
Yeah, it's a prequel, exactly. It's about the Wicked Witch of the West. It's a prequel about her story. Yeah. People love it, man. I've never seen it. The only thing I know about it is the main girl who was in the original cast is Idina Menzel, who is famous for singing a little song called "Let It Go" on the Frozen soundtrack, and also recently was in Uncut Gems, who played Howie's wife. But she was the star of Wicked.
Oh yeah, shit. I forgot about
a little fun fact about Wicked.
That is a really Alex. That is such a fun little fact.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Such a fun little fact for all the listeners out there. Hey, speaking about listeners, I texted you about this, but we actually had a text from one of our listeners. He's kind of a listener, but he's also our he's one of our co-creators. He's our good friend Sean. And he texted me. He listened to the Barton Fink episode, and he said he had a good experience listening to it because he originally did not like Barton Fink, but listening to it, he appreciated it more.
Right.
So
that's amazing. I love hearing that.
I know it made me feel great. So Sean, if you're listening to this, thanks, buddy. It really it meant a lot for you to send that to us. If you feel that way when you listen to one of our podcasts, we love to hear about it. No pressure.
I've definitely heard that from a couple people.
Most
notably Rise of Skywalker. I had a couple buddies who weren't sure about that movie, listened to our podcast, and were like, yeah, it's not good.
Yeah, see, I would call Sean's experience an additive thing because that was like constructively, and Rise of Skywalker, we just sort of shit it until everyone realizes like, listen, this movie is bad or you don't have brain cells. But Sean brought up this really cool discussion point, which happens to us all the time, which is the aspect of changing your opinion on a movie, just to 180 to watch something and be like, this sucks. And then you watch it again, or you think about it a little bit. And I gave you some homework to think about that. And I was wondering, have you thought about that?
I have thought about it. And so the question is, like, I took the text literally, and it said, were there any movies that you went and saw and you hated, and then you revisited it, and then you kind of grew to love it or really like it?
Yes.
In my experience, I really like since you said that, I literally was thinking about it since I looked at that. And in my experience, I haven't had an experience like that, to be honest. Like
Yes.
I usually feel the way that I feel when I see it the first time.
Yeah.
I usually am like that. There are definitely there are definitely times where maybe I have like Rise of Skywalker, for example. When I first saw it, I was like, that was not great. But when I saw it again, I was like, I fucking hate this movie.
Yeah.
I definitely
Yeah.
have instances where Midsummer was another example
That's the
where
one I was thinking about.
I liked that movie, but as revisiting it, I've grown to love it. But there have definitely been films in my uh, young adult movie watching phase where I didn't I didn't necessarily hate them. I just did not get them or understand them on any level.
Sure,
And
sure.
one of those would be 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Interesting.
When I first saw, like, mind you, I was like 14 years old.
Yeah.
Too slow. Too slow. What's
Right,
going
right.
on? Who's this Hal guy? Why did it? What is up with the baby, dude? What
Yeah.
is up, dude? The monkeys? What is going on? I don't understand it at all.
Yeah.
It's not that
Yeah.
I hated it. I was interested in it, but I was like, this is not for me. I for a long time I was like, I never rewatched it for a long time because I was my one experience of it was, you know, that was boring, man.
Yeah.
But, but now having more grown older, my brain being more developed, you know, I've grown to appreciate
Uh,
what the masterpiece of that movie is.
yeah.
You know, so like there's definitely been instances like that where
Sure,
I've seen a
sure.
movie where I'm completely been like perplexed by under the skin. That's another
Yeah.
example where when I first saw that movie, I didn't necessarily like it that much. I didn't really love like I kind of the pace of it was kind of monotonous to me. Like it was just kind of I didn't understand it. I kind of thought it was I just didn't really quite get what like the film was really going for, the vibe
Yeah.
or anything like that.
Yeah.
And again, that's a movie that I deem to be a classic in art cinema in
Yeah.
the 2010s. You know,
Yeah.
there are movies where, and I think that's not a hot take at all, but
No, no, definitely not.
but you know, you know, so I think I've definitely had experiences where but we talk about this all the time, where revisiting movies is really important if you definitely want to be someone who's in the cinema or wants to discuss cinema at length because
Right.
movies are just so layered, especially the good ones that and you might great movies have so many things about them that you can pick apart, so many different lenses that you can look through a movie in. So it's really for me it's really important to see movies that maybe I'm unsure about or really like multiple times just to ensure my opinion about those
Yeah.
movies.
And I think those are that's a really good segue into I wanted to bring up Under the Skin because it made me think about an experience I have watching films like Under the Skin and every David Lynch film.
Yeah.
Uh, I'm specifically thinking of Eraserhead because I watched like Under the Skin and then Eraserhead like in the same week, which was a weird week.
Wow.
But for the first time. And those were movies where I hadn't quite experienced anything like that. I watched it in high
Right.
school
I
and
mean, there's nothing else like both those
there
movies.
isn't. No, no. And it's the experience where you watch that movie and when you're watching it, you kind of hate it. And then as soon as the movie
Under the
turns
Skin.
off, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Sure.
then as
Yeah.
soon as the movie turns off, you have this opinion, I hated that. And
hmm
then you wait 10 minutes and your brain just starts like going with
Sure.
it. And it's just
Yeah.
like,
Sure.
dude, maybe
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I like movies like that a lot, which sort of I've had experiences of a lot of range ranging. Usually now I know when I feel like that, it's probably a pretty good film. I don't usually have that experience unless and where my brain keeps working on it in aftermath, where I end up not liking the film. So I'm curious about like with Sean's experience, if that was an experience where like it just sort of like was hate and then it sort of developed, matured over time, or but I've also had experiences where it's just like I hate that and then I don't think about it anymore.
Right.
And if I don't think about it, then it's usually that was kind of dull to me.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, dude, absolutely. And I think like, well, I think that's the whole idea of like wanting to revisit a movie.
Yeah.
There's some things where, you know, that like Eraserhead, like a David Lynch movie is a great example because I mean, when I first saw Mulholland Drive, which is like literally one of my favorite
Oh,
films.
dude, you know, that's actually a movie. When I first watched it, I didn't think that much of it, and I haven't seen it since that time. But after when I first watched it, I didn't like it. But now thinking about it, I was like, wow, that was really cool, and I want to rewatch it now because I think I would get it. But that's another great film.
Yeah,
I had this experience with.
So like when I saw that movie for the first time, I was like 17 years old. Like they put it on Netflix. I had heard things about it. I was like, I gotta check this out.
Yeah.
And I remember enjoying it.
Yeah.
For the weirdness of it, and but when it ended, I was like, I have no idea what the fuck was. I don't know what I watched. I literally just I don't know what like. But those films, while when it ends, you might be like, I'll probably never watch that again. But it stays in your brain. It's like a seed. It's like the seed that is growing and growing inside of your brain. And that when that happens to me, that's when I know that the film is special. Where I literally can't stop thinking about it. Like the experience watching it, I might feel some other way. But like the Lighthouse was an example where that's a movie that, you know, we obviously adore.
Yeah.
But the first time we saw it, we both were in the car like,
what?
I mean, we like enjoyed the experience, but we were just like, what the fuck was that? And I remember like the next day, we couldn't stop talking about it. I mean, we were like these, it's like a thing that
we slept and we woke up and it's like, dude. Yeah, it was really cool.
Like when you see it again, it enhances the experience because you have the scene in your brain, so you kind of just it literally is just short answer is that it just you have to let movies sit, especially
well, you know,
sometimes.
No, I think you're 100% right, but it also depends on what you want to get out of films. Like, I believe that there's a lot of people who just want to enjoy their first watch and they don't really want to watch anything like that.
I remember when we talked about Barton Fink and we talked about that review where the person gave it a negative review and it was like, you know, I didn't get it, and that kind of frustrates us because it's like, I mean, it frustrated me, but I remember I said something like, you know, some people they want to go see, you know, a action movie or a comedy, get that instant gratification of this is what this is about. I'm supposed to laugh at this. I'm supposed to be thrilled by this.
Yes.
So you see a movie of Martin Fink, you're like, what am I supposed to be feeling?
Yeah, and the other thing about Barton Fink, which gets exactly this point, is and other like of these weird movies, is that it's just what's interesting about it on the most simplest level, I think for us, is that it's just different than what normally is done. And that is just really interesting for me to watch. Sometimes even if it's not really done that well, if it's different than how it's normally done, I just find it really intriguing. And Barton Fink and all these other movies we've listed is a great example, in my opinion, of being films that don't do it how it's normally done and create this really meaningful experience in addition to that, which is like, that's such a treat to me. But you know, it's also a fact where it's like, I had to grow to get to the point where I knew that not understanding a film or not liking it, that feeling initially is actually a sign of me liking it. Like me, like that, even though I felt the same way as I did after watching Mulholland Drive or Under the Skin after The Lighthouse, I knew what I was feeling was enjoyment, even if it was kind of like frustration, which was
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's interesting. I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. That's interesting. I mean, I definitely like. I feel like the lighthouse, for example. Like, yes, it's very ambiguous and very confusing, and it's not really well laid out what that movie is, right? Like in
Yeah.
terms of like what it's about, or the meaning of any of it, if there is one. You know,
Yes.
there there. I'll tell you right now, there's more than one meaning. There's about maybe every possible meaning ever that you can glean
Yes.
out of that movie because of
Yes.
the
Yes.
perfection of what it was going for. It
Exactly. Yes.
exists. Um, but I'm still entertained as fuck by it. It's still
Yeah.
like an entertaining movie. Like sometimes there's these movies where maybe like a if you guys like maybe a wrestling movie.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes sometimes as much as I love Nicholas Winnie wrestling, okay, like Drive was a movie that hit me on like I watched that movie at the perfect time of my life, and it opened me up to so many different films, and it broke my brain
Yeah.
to what is possible in movies like that
Yeah.
that were it was unlike anything I ever seen before. So
Yeah.
instantly I was like, I gotta watch everything that this guy
Yeah.
ever made, and I
Yeah.
watched one of his movies called Valhalla Rising, which is stars oh my god
God.
Lafitte
Yeah.
from Bond, holy Mads Nicholson,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and it
Brilliant.
is a movie that is
I
not
actually
fun to watch.
I actually turned it off halfway through because I
Yeah,
couldn't get through the boat scene.
yeah.
I want to return to it because it wasn't bad.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting movie, but like that was a that is something that what you're describing where when I watched it I was very frustrated. And
Yeah.
the more I sat with it, I was like, there were things that were really interesting about that were
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
and that were I see what it was going for and I kind of appreciate for that and I kind of grew to kind of like that movie.
Yeah.
So like yeah, I totally understand what you're saying.
Yeah, and I think that this conversation, it could be posited that we're kind of like sounding a little bit elitist about saying that you have to work to like these heady movies and stuff. But I'll
Oh,
bring up
yeah,
an
dude,
example.
we are fucking weirdos.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
this phenomenon perpetuates all movies because one of
Mhm,
my, I think the most specific example that I can have that relates exactly to this experience that Sean had with Barton Fink is I had this experience with Spider-Man.
mhm.
Spider-Man
Homecoming?
Homecoming. Yeah,
Yeah,
because when I
right,
first
yeah.
watched that, I hated it. I
Mhm,
fucking hated it. And it took me watching all of the Spider-Mans preceding it, including the bad ones, to watch that and be like, I get it now.
yeah,
I get
right,
why. So like this isn't about getting practice enough to understand these heady, complicated films. It's
yeah,
about getting practice enough as just a person who watches movies to understand, to be able to engage with like these stories and different things like that.
mhm,
And it really is just about battling your own emotions, I find, most of the time, and about
yeah,
deciding, it's just like, what is my mood right now, what is my genuine feeling about this,
right,
what is me commenting on not liking what this director is doing in this scenario
mhm,
and genuinely not liking the style versus like me just being a little butt about it right now. It's like it could
yeah.
be any of these things, and you really have to it it's a cool thing about watching movies that,
Well, that's what's
sure.
so amazing is like, that's why we have this podcast. Is like,
Hmm.
that's what fuels the film discussion, right?
Yeah, totally.
Is that there are these people who can have really thoughtful and well arguments about why the lighthouse is a piece of shit. And
Yeah.
another person can have a extremely well thought out argument on why it's a masterpiece.
Yeah,
And that is
that's
something that
wonderful.
literally draws me to cinema.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, but yeah, I'm kind of sorry to disappoint you. I don't have any movies that I flat out saw, and I was like, I hated that. Then I revisited it, and I
Yeah.
liked it.
I think your
I don't
experience
really
with
have.
Midsummer, I think your Midsummer experience is close enough
Sure,
to it.
absolutely,
I
yeah,
think that's
absolutely.
close enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm definitely. I think I called it 90 degrees. I don't
Yeah.
have
Yeah. Which I
180s.
yes.
We're like, it's either get like more dislike or more like. I have a
Yeah.
follow up question though.
Sure.
This is more interesting to me because I am definitely going to look into this for sure. Um, have you ever been in denial of
Hmm.
a movie? And what I mean by that
Yeah.
is that you see it and you kind of have rose tinted glasses on, and you kind of like it because maybe you were so excited for it, maybe in that respect, and then
Yeah.
you return to it later and you realize that, oh, this movie's kind of, I don't think this movie's very good,
Yeah.
anything like that. Do
Dude,
you have any situations like that? Because
I
I got
feel
a
like
couple of them.
I feel like this will be very
I
appropriate
guess it's
for this
similar to
episode.
like to dislike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a really good question. And it raises the question where I'm stalling because I can't think of any titles.
Hmm.
But it brings up the point because of when you have that experience and you can recognize that a movie bad is a movie like that you enjoy is
Hmm.
bad.
Yeah.
Is the movie bad, for you liking it? Is your liking it like not genuine?
Well,
Is
that's the
that
whole
false?
question. That's the whole question,
It
right?
doesn't seem like it is to me.
So
Like you're
here, I'll give
liking
you
it is
my
still
example. I'll
good.
give you my example.
Yeah.
So when I first saw, and like we talked about this before, I obviously major nerd, and so when
Yeah.
they announced Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, you know, dude, my little nerd balls were they were so blue, dude. I
Yeah.
was like ready to see that movie and just blow the load. I was so I was so excited. I
Yeah.
was so excited. I have an issue. That's one thing about my personality that I don't hate about it, but something that I've definitely grown out of where my fandom for things definitely can overshadow my opinion sometimes. And
Uh-huh.
Star Wars is definitely up there because like there have been you know uh like I've been in denial sometimes in Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I love the prequels. And then when
Yeah.
my brain got developed, I was like, these movies are complete ass.
Yeah.
So like, oh, spit on the mic. But but anyway, Batman v Superman was something for me where literally walking the theater, just fucking big old balls, big old testes, like oh,
Yeah.
so ready, dude. And I enjoyed the movie in the first viewing that I saw it because it was fucking Batman versus Superman on screen. It was like something
Yeah.
that I wanted to see for fucking since I was like 5 years old. It was the
Yeah.
coolest shit ever. Like it was just such a release of adrenaline. Oh my god, I finally saw it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then when I saw it again, I was like, oh wow, there's a lot of issues with this movie. but I think that, but I think me though, my opinion of that movie still stands where I don't actually hate that movie, but I think a lot of why I maybe kind of enjoy it is from that first experience.
Yeah.
Like I think
Yeah,
like
sure. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of
so because I
sense.
had so much fun watching it for the first time, and I just thought it was like just I didn't like Lex Luthor straight up. I hated that the
Yeah.
first time I saw
Yeah.
it. I didn't like everything about it, but
It was
he's
rough.
so bad. That's something that no one can argue with me. It's just like, how do you like? What are you talking about, dude? Like,
Yeah.
anyway, no, dude, that scene where he puts the Jolly Rancher into the guy's mouth and he pops it in. That was awesome. No,
Thrilling
um,
cinema.
hilarious, just so creepy.
Yeah.
Anyway, um, but
That's a good
yeah, I mean,
example.
I've definitely been in denial of certain things, and
Yeah.
because our excitement is so high.
Yeah.
But most of the time, it's amazing when you get excited for something like an Infinity War or Endgame, and you see it, and it's kind of good.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
kind of a good movie because after that first experience, when I went rewatched both those movies, I was like, okay, cool. They're actually like
Yeah.
I I remember when the Last Jedi came out. I remember like I told somebody I was like, don't ask me about my opinion when I first see it because I'm gonna love it.
Yeah.
I'm
That's a
gonna
good. Yeah.
like it
Yeah.
because it's Star Wars. 'Cause
That's a great thing to
at
know about
that
your
point,
bias. Yeah.
at that point, Star Wars was a new thing, and like it was
Yeah.
still very exciting to see a Star Wars movie in theaters at that point. So it's a little knock on Star Wars right there, but anyway,
Yeah.
um, so yeah, so I think yeah, sure, there are definitely some biases that I have towards
Yeah.
certain things, but I think it's good to recognize that and don't be in denial about like having discussions with a movie with somebody. But
Yeah.
sometimes, like when I get frustrated about movie discussions, sometimes is that some people, especially on the internet, that I've seen or that like these kind of, especially DC movies,
Yeah.
that are kind of in denial for how shitty these DC movies are sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, and they won't really have an argument. It's kind of just like, you're wrong. This movie's awesome. Fuck you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just like you gotta be open to. Are you biased about this? Are you a huge Aquaman fan? Did you grow up with Aquaman and you're
Yeah.
waiting to see this
Right.
movie? And then you can have an intelligent discussion about is what the quality of the film. You can still like it, obviously, but
Yeah.
I like to have discussion.
Yeah. Yeah. And
There's sometimes in my life that it's hard to do that because whenever, especially big movies that people love, like Fast and Furious, for example, I'm just like, bro, they're all the same.
yeah.
They're
Yeah.
literally like, I'm not excited about them anymore because they're not, they're literally the same movie each
Yeah.
and every time. And so, like, I've had discussions about that franchise, for example, that have been kind of just,
Yeah.
nope, I'm not listening to you. Okay.
You're bringing up a really great point. Which let me before I get into this and get too sidetracked, I want to say the two films I can think about being in denial about being good is Prometheus. Kind of is included in this, but it's more accepted as a good film. But
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I would just say that I was just right before everyone else, because I
Yeah,
like that from the very beginning.
yeah,
I never
yeah.
wavered on that. I loved it the first time I saw it, and I loved
Let's
it
see.
forever. And the other thing that I like that I think is not necessarily thought of as good is the Pokemon movie. I genuinely think that movie is
Yeah,
great,
yeah,
but I think I'm incredibly biased about that. There's a lot
yeah,
of others. I wish I could think of examples. It's a really interesting phenomenon. But,
yeah.
I think that talking about this goes to show, it reminds me about how you can't just watch movies that are on the list of good movies. You really have to engage with it.
Mm-hmm.
And this
Yeah,
idea of classics, like most of the time, the films that are classics are going to be a good movie. Like you watch it and they'd
yeah,
be good.
right.
But dude, you still have to engage with it, and you will miss out if you just watch a classic and you say, I like that because it's a classic. And I think that's
Yeah,
actually a similar phenomenon to this
totally.
fandom thing that you're talking
Yeah,
about, because
totally.
it's just, this is the newest DC movie, therefore it's good.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, you're missing out on figuring out for yourself why you like this
Right.
so much, and all that, all those kinds of things.
Yeah,
And then you're just turning yourself, letting, to me, in my opinion, when you do that, then you're just saying, if people make things that have this and this, then I will go and I will say I enjoy it. But
yeah,
I can't tell you why I enjoy it. I
right.
can't tell you what I like about this and this thing.
Yeah,
But and I think that it kind of deadens you a little bit
yeah,
if you choose to go that route. And I think that, I don't know, maybe it might be that the majority of people in the world choose to do something like that, which I don't blame them, because you have to do a lot of work to actually
yeah,
engage with something like films. And
yeah,
sometimes people don't want to put energy into film like that, which
yeah.
makes sense.
We're just kind of talking about film fans in general.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
And people who want to engage with
yeah.
stuff
Right,
like
exactly.
this.
Um,
Um,
Oh, what else did I want to say? Oh, fuck! I completely lost. Like, damn it!
Take that shit away
Damn
from
it!
you. Another good example, I
Oh,
think
oh,
of.
oh, oh, oh! I
Go
wanted
ahead.
to
Go
say,
ahead.
but if you're listening to this and you're still confused with what we're talking about, go read, watch some articles about when the Phantom Menace came out.
Mm,
That is a fascinating look into this phenomenon where people
yeah.
were in denial. That people were coming out of that movie theater being like, "That was awesome,"
Yeah.
whatever, whatever. That movie is fucking dog shit, and you cannot. It's dog shit. It is known for being a dog shit movie now.
Yeah.
I think
I mean,
that's
you've probably seen it for yourself, and you know for yourself that
right.
you probably didn't like it that
But
much.
but when that movie came out, it was fascinating to see the response that it got because it was clear that a lot of these people were fanboying. They were. I mean, the term that some people use is called phantom medicine, where it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
like some people have turned that into a coin that we're talking about, which is
Yeah.
fanboying. You know?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, fucking, I remember when the Amazing Spider-Man came out. That
Yes.
happens a lot
Yes.
where I initially thought, and I liked it. I mean, I was like 13 years old, but I mean, I
Yeah.
was a huge Spider-Man fan. I was like, that was cool. Dude, I fucking hate that movie.
Yeah.
That might be one where I liked it, I fucking hated it. That's
A
probably
180. Yeah.
Amazing
Yeah.
Spider-Man, dude. Holy fuck.
Yeah.
Anyway, but uh yeah, I mean it's a real thing, these
Yeah, it is.
emotions can grab a hold of you, man, and
Yeah.
really change your perception about what you truly think.
And
You know?
another cool thing that gets into this is check out. I really want to investigate this myself because I haven't seen the movie or read the review. But check out Roger Ebert's experience with knowing. He's
Yeah,
had an experience
yeah.
where there's a couple of movies that everyone says is dog shit, and he gives them
Mm-hmm.
like 4 out of 4
Speed,
stars.
speed two,
Yeah,
cruise
shit like that.
control.
Yeah, shit like that. And it's just like, dude, what happened? And it's because
But what I
you
like
you
about that
believe
is he's
Roger
honest,
Ebert.
right? He's literally like,
Yeah,
I enjoy this
yeah,
movie. And then,
yeah,
like some people like walk into Speed 2 and be like, oh, this is gonna suck, and they're gonna hate it no matter what. Like sometimes like you'd be like, oh, I'm not gonna like Speed 2 because fucking Keanu Reeves is even in it.
yeah.
Going in to dislike it. That happens sometimes.
Dude, to talk about
I'm
the
not
Last
realizing
of Us. That's what happened with the
totally,
Last
yeah,
of
yeah, yeah,
Us.
Last of Us 2. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. Um, but yeah, it's an interesting discussion. We talk about it a lot. It's fascinating about film response, and I love talking about this. I mean, it's a bummer that we're talking about it in 2020 because there's no good movies coming out. But
Yeah, I know.
um,
Yeah. But I
but,
mean,
I
it
mean, it's
happens
part of
the
what I love about
experience.
blockbuster filmmaking. What I love, it's one of the things that I love about it. Is I love the discussion, like online. I love like the I just love everything kind of surrounding this like big release that people
Yeah.
are anticipating. It's fun. It's cool and it's cool to see like different responses that people have.
And it's also interesting that these questions that we're kind of investigating here is how this denial phenomenon is something that does tend to happen around big releases when people
Hmm.
it's first impressions, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
where it's really really malleable.
right.
So basically, whatever everyone says in the largest amount, that sort of gets solidified as what's true, and it slowly gets unpacked, and you
Yeah,
cycle.
we've said that before. No movie true colors or true response is gonna be known until years down the line. We're not gonna know what really people thought about a certain movie like until it's a good years out. Like
Yeah.
it's just that's just the way that the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, which I'm kind of interesting. The Five Bloods is an interesting example.
Yeah,
In my opinion, I think that movie
it
sucks
already it
dog
already
shit.
it already died. Like
Yeah,
I've
which
never
and
even heard people talk about it
and, and
anymore.
in my opinion,
It
I think
came out
that's
at the perfect time.
yeah,
The
it
perfect
just
time.
yeah, and I think I'm curious to see how that continues if it gets rediscovered or I think it's just dead because
Yeah,
I think it's garbage.
right.
But that might be a film that if it
Yeah.
does get some attention in the future, I might go back to Sean's question and revisit that and have a
Hmm.
different experience with it.
Right. Yeah,
But
exactly. Yeah.
then it's a really interesting organism, this film world, because it will take a lot of buzz from other people talking about it to get me to watch that film again.
Well, that's another thing that's like that you're getting at too. That's another like big thing about film response and stuff like that. Buzz. Some people will hear, for example, like I know some people who the Wicks. This is an amazing example.
Oh, cool.
The Wicks, which is like undoubtedly one of the most iconic horror movies of the 2010s for
Another
sure.
Robert Eggers
Yeah,
films, like the same director as The Lighthouse.
incredible movie. And I saw that movie way late, but I remember when that movie came
Me too.
out.
Yeah.
I remember when that movie came out. It got, it premiered at Sundance. It got all these awards at different film festivals, and it built this un like a lot of what happens with these like horror movies and these festival movies is that they build this ungodly amount of hype, and
Yeah.
then people see it, and like the Witch was because people probably casual horror fans heard about it, that their favorite horror movies like Insidious, like they go see those types of movies. Nothing wrong with that, but they're expecting a type of horror movie like that, and it is not that. It is a slow burn.
Yeah.
It is a creeper. All these kind of art house horror movies seem to have that response. Like Hereditary had that response, where a lot of these critics who saw it in the festivals and stuff, like A24, they're brilliant for doing this, but they also kind of shot themselves in the foot on weird hand, where some critic called it like the next Exorcist or something, which is
Mm.
like crazy. But
Yeah.
uh, that they put that on the poster and the trailers. When you call a movie the next Exorcist, like that's you're building a hype that will never be reached. Where
Yeah.
people are walking in expecting the greatest horror movie of all time.
Well, and not only that, it's like because you can compare Hereditary and The Exorcist, you can say, yeah, similar experiences, but that's not you're not
Sure.
competing with the literal film of The Exorcist. You're
Yeah.
competing with the people's expectation of their first time they saw The Exorcist in theaters.
Yes.
Which,
Exactly.
dude,
Yeah.
that is
Yeah.
so different than the movie Exorcist.
Yeah. Right.
And you
Yeah.
talked
Yeah.
about that with the Dawn
Exactly.
of
Yeah.
Superman. Your
Right.
first time seeing the Dawn of Superman is
God of
much different
Justice. Yeah.
than the actual movie itself, which is
Right.
kind of weird.
Totally. Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, yeah. There's a lot to unpack in that conversation. Um. But short answer, no. I haven't really got a whole 180.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, what about It Follows? Then we can transition into the
Although
movie.
I mean, it follows like I like it. I I I
It
don't
just
love
didn't
that
live
movie
up
as
to
much as everybody. I still don't. I mean,
yeah.
I do like It Follows. Of course I do. But
Yeah.
I don't. But again, though, that is a great example of what I was just talking about. I saw
Yeah.
that movie way later,
Yeah.
way later, when like years later. I want to say like 4 years later,
Yeah.
after that, the film's initial
Huge
cultural
release.
kind of impact that it had in the art cinema world.
Yeah.
I was expecting something. I don't know what I was expecting, but I
Yeah.
was expecting something way different than I got.
Yeah.
So,
Have you seen that film since that first
no,
time?
I have not. So,
Okay.
I definitely would like to revisit it at some point because
Yeah.
I like it a lot. It's just,
Yeah.
it's just like there's expectation is a hell of a drug.
It is,
Expectation
dude.
is
Dude, it is.
expectation's nuts.
It changes everything when you have
Yeah,
expectation.
yeah. And
Um
then also like, but I definitely have got more. Oh, this will be a whole other can of worms, but I've definitely got more 180s with music than I have
yeah.
films.
And I think this is a perfect example to bring up this quote that Bjork had that just blew my mind,
Mm-hmm.
because I think the reason for that is she was making this comment about commenting on music videos, and she said music videos are really important because This is not verbatim, because I think that people's eyes are much more mature than their ears. So when they have the right visuals to accompany it, then they have a quick way of accessing the song itself. Dude, in my experience, that's so true. And it was weird because after I read that, I had just had that experience right before reading that, where I watched a music video of a guy. It was actually Andrew Huang's music video.
Oh yeah.
And I don't necessarily like his music that much. I think he's a fantastic musician because he's fucking brilliant. But I've never really gotten into his music. But when I saw his music video, I was like, dude, that clicked with me. I dug that song, and I feel like I'll listen. Yeah, and I feel like I will. Yeah, I feel like I'll listen to Sparkle Mountain just as a song now. I don't need the video.
Yeah, the video is cool. That song, man. I won't get into it.
Yeah.
Anyway, it sounded like it's weird, but
yeah, and
the video is really cool.
Yeah, I don't love his style still, but it was an interesting. Yes, but it was an interesting experience where the video made me connect with something that, like, it's like I wouldn't have necessarily. And my whole point is bringing back to this thing you just talked about, where I agree. I think music's a little bit more malleable, and it takes a little bit more work for people. Where you have to work with films like we've been talking about. I think you have to work really hard with music.
I think someone might disagree with me, but I think music has a higher ceiling in terms of like things that are possible with music and possible with sound. Like there's so much like
that's a huge question.
There's
a huge question.
The thing about films is that it's easier for people to see an action movie and know what the beats that they're gonna get, right?
Yeah.
If you like, there's genres in film that I think people are more maybe like aware of, or more accustomed to than like music, for example. And like, when you show them, it sounds like an art film, I guess, but if you show them like a Death Grips, or you show them like an 100 Gex, and their minds gonna fucking melt. They're gonna be like, what the fuck is this? Because it's so, even like the art films, sometimes you'll be like, okay, I see like a narrative. When I first heard Death Grips for the first time, I couldn't comprehend it. It just sounded like fucking white noise and a dude screaming over it. That's what it sounded like to me. I didn't get any of the grooves. I didn't get any of the rhythms that was going on. I didn't get any of the melody. I didn't get any of the lyrics. I didn't got nothing the first time I heard Death Grips.
Yeah.
I mean, now I worship the altar of Death Grips. So I love Death Grips. So it's just, I don't know, man. It's just, I definitely, when I hear something really experimental like Death Grips or The Garden that we were talking about,
dude,
or 100 Gex or something like it takes me longer to be like, what the fuck is, and not only what the fuck is this, but do I even like this? Like in movies where I can watch and Under the Skin, for example, I definitely enjoyed that, but I don't really know what was going on, and I can kind of chew on it. Death Grips, I listened to fucking Inanimate Sensation, and I was like, bro, I don't even want to return to this.
Yeah.
Like, this is so bizarre. Like, I have no idea what to even do.
Dude, this is
after listening to the Money Store and kind of easing me, that's the way to. If you want to get into Death Grips, listen to the Money Store. That's the way to ease yourself in. But
I think Ex-Military is somewhat accessible as well, but Money Store is more accessible. Dude, that is such an interesting question. That is so goddamn complicated.
Yeah, I might have to do its own podcast.
And I think it would be, because there's so many factors to like the experience of it. Because on one hand, when you watch a film, you are practicing sitting and just watching that film. That's all you're doing. You're just watching the movie. So like we have so much practice engaging with the film and doing it like that, but with music we're listening to it like halfway, maybe like a quarter of our attention is listening.
Right. Yeah,
We don't
totally.
just listen
Yeah,
to music, which that's a
that's
factor in
true.
this.
Dance,
Then yeah, and
dance
then
to it, you know. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
totally.
and then another thing is how film is so young compared to music.
Yeah,
So young.
yeah,
It's so goddamn
yeah.
young. And I mean, maybe you can say it's a little bit older if you say, well, film's kind of connected to comics and like art and like and visual art and stuff like that. But
That's,
really the actual
yeah,
the film, the way of videography film
yeah, right.
is so young. It's so
Yeah.
young. So yeah, in a way, like music does have like this depth to it that film doesn't really seem to have yet. But in a way it's like, does film is we're I feel like we're still just on the like the surface
Sure.
of
Yeah.
film, and we're just starting to really get nitty gritty with music too. So dude, I don't know,
Yeah.
I agree with everything that you're saying, but we should talk about this more
I
because
just
this is a
like
great
have
question.
like I just like have a feeling that I think it might be easier for a normal person who watches the normal, you know, movies, listens to the normal shit a lot on for music, maybe
Yeah.
alternative music every once in a while. I think it would be easier for them to get into something like The Lighthouse than the Hunger Games or something like that. That's what
See,
I kind of like. That's what I'm kind of thinking. But
I have to think about that more. My initial reaction is I kind of feel like I disagree, because one of the things with music I find interesting is how this weird stuff like 100 gecs seems more accessible than
hmm
the experimental side of film stuff. Because I find,
sure,
because 100 gecs is popular,
that might be a bad example. But
but I still I think I don't think that you're wrong necessarily. I just need, it's like it's really
that was
complicated.
kind of a ringtone. God, I love Hunger Games.
We should definitely return to that conversation, and maybe we can like
Yeah,
compare and like think up a couple albums to talk about and stuff. That would be
totally.
really cool to talk about that.
All
Uh,
right,
but we should talk
that's the
about
question over. That's a long fucking question.
yeah, thanks for the
Long one
question,
to answer.
Sean. It was
If
great.
you guys want to ask more questions, just hit us up.
Yeah.
We love talking, taking your questions, and just we just need more discussion points. You know.
Yeah. And like Alex
Um,
said, if you know us, text us. If you don't know us, send us DM us on our Instagram. Or if you don't like
right.
Instagram, Gmail us.
Yeah.
Gmail us at thickandbutter@gmail.com.
All right. No more lollygagging here,
No.
dude. All right. So I took a film for this week, and
Uh-huh.
because it was the Halloween season, I thought
You should pick the scariest
we
movie
picked
that has
the
been
scariest
ever
movie that
made.
I've ever seen. And I'm not gonna say anything. I'm just gonna let good old Little Richard just speak for himself.
Please no copyright. Please no copyright.
We're gonna talk about
Casper,
Casper.
the
Well,
friendly ghost.
that's the funny part. It's not called Casper the Friendly Ghost. It's just
Yeah.
called Casper. Uh, and this film is a movie that I watched. Okay, you know what's really funny is I watched. There's like 45 of these goddamn movies, and
There's a
I
lot.
definitely watched this one as a kid, but the one that I watched the most was actually Casper Saves Christmas. Uh, I I like that one a lot. But um, I picked this movie because I was just like, oh, this would be funny to talk about, like a Halloween movie, like kind of fun to talk about. I haven't revisited it in a while, and I'm I'm not gonna lie, I struck a gold mine. This movie is insane.
Yeah.
This movie is insane. It's ridiculous. Like I could not believe like what I was watching in terms of
Yeah,
like
dude.
like the story, like just like everything about this movie, kind of blew me away. It is the most '90s shit like
Yeah.
ever created. Like fucking Bill Pullman's in this movie, and if you
Yeah.
don't know who Bill Pullman is, there's a fucking Dan Aykroyd, Mel Gibson,
Yeah, that
like
scene blew my that blew
Cameron, like, what is going on? And like, dude, this movie is insane. So
Yeah.
I picked this movie. I'm excited to talk about it because
Yeah,
I
me
wrote
too.
a lot of notes. I was just like so perplexed by like I definitely watched this movie a lot as a child. But,
Yeah.
you know, I was like, I don't remember any of this. Like there was like one scene that I kind of have a vague memory of watching.
Yeah.
What? Everything else, I was like, I don't remember any of this. So, if you guys don't know what this movie is about, is this a base? Okay, my first question
Uh-huh.
is Casper, is that a property before this movie?
Dude, I think it's an original idea. I think it's
Okay, so it's this movie, and then became all the spin-offs and all that
yeah.
stuff.
This is the
Okay,
originator.
okay. So what this movie is about is it's produced by Spielberg, his company. If you watch the
Oh.
movie, very goddamn
Oh.
obvious. But
Gotcha.
so he produced this movie, and it is about a haunted house, basically, that are haunted by Casper, the friendly ghost,
Our friend.
and his uncles. I gotta get the names right. Fatso, what's the
Stretch and
huh?
Stinky. Stretch
And
and Stinky.
Stinky. And so they haunt this house, and these two business people who want to buy the house because there's treasure.
No. It's the angry lady, the shrew lady.
Yeah.
She inherits the house from
Oh
her dead
yeah.
father, and
Right.
the Monty Python guy is
Eric Idle, that's right.
yeah.
Dude, he like why do they what? He's not that funny in this movie. Like I was like
Oh.
expecting him to, because I love Monty Python. I'm like, he didn't really have any. He didn't really give him a lot to kind of do, which
Yeah.
is kind of dark because he's amazing. But anyway,
You can
um,
tell just like based on the script that he literally had nothing to work with,
yeah,
and
that's
he
the thing.
probably he
Yeah.
probably did that on Wednesdays in between like two other
Yeah,
productions.
yeah, probably. um, so what is so they go to this house. They realize that it's haunted. They're scared of it. Casper scares them away. They're like, we gotta get a ghost therapist. We gotta find a ghost therapist. And Casper, the friendly ghost, sees the ad for the ghost therapist on TV. He directs the woman to him. They fly. They
Which I thought
hire
was
him.
which I like the practical effects scene of that scene a
That was
minute.
awesome.
I
Yeah, it
thought
was
it was
really cool.
clever.
Yeah. And so we have the movie where this is so Bill Pullman and his daughter, played by Christina Ricci at a very young age, who went on to be an actor, famous actress.
Was
But
she? Yeah,
she's, I don't really know. She did
she's the Adam
rom-coms,
family. Yeah,
Adam
yeah,
Family, which is, I
yeah.
love Adam Family. This actually kind of reminds me of the Adam Family, and this weird,
Family friendly spooky genre.
yes, and it's most more reminds me of the Scooby Doo live
Ah,
action
yeah,
movie.
yes, dude. That's
um,
exact.
yeah,
Yes, I thought the same
and
thing. Which is a good
and
denial movie, actually. Those movies are great.
straight up braggy motherfucker. Um, and so what this movie's about is basically Casper watching is attracted to Christina Ricci's character and like wants to like be friends with her or whatever to her,
A
and
little bit more.
and the guy plays like Bill Pullman, who's a ghost therapist who's trying to connect with his dead wife. And okay, I'll be straight up honest with you. I think the first half of this movie has a cool vibe. I think
Yeah.
that this movie has some fun to be in it.
I don't disagree with you at all.
Yeah.
I don't.
I think that I wrote this down in my notes. I wrote that this movie literally feels like that the director or writer went into Spielberg's office because Spielberg produced this movie. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if he's credited. It's his company.
Yeah.
But they go in and they go, that movie you made, Poltergeist? And Spielberg goes, uh-huh. Like, that movie E.T. you made? It's like, uh-huh. This new technology called CGI. It's like, uh-huh. I want to do all of that and make it funny in a family movie. And they're like, here's $300 million. Go do it. That's what this feels like. Like, it's so, like, what made me laugh so hard is how hard they lean into the Spielberg shit in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, this movie feels like a dollar store poltergeist where
That's a great
are trying to like make a fun kind of version of poltergeist. And like there are like moments in this movie that I find to be really fun and enjoyable. Like on a family movie level, on a just literally like if I have kids, like I'll probably sell this movie. Like this is a fun kind of family, kind of Halloween movie. What I liked about it is that the Halloween vibe was cool. I was watching the movie. I looked out my window. There's pumpkins and leaves. It's like this is a cool movie to be watching right now.
Yeah.
And like, and so, but like the haunted house stuff, I was into. The uncles were pretty cool. That's kind of where my positives kind of end.
Yeah.
But I want to know what did you think of Casper? Dude?
Oh my God. It was a really interesting, it was such an interesting watch because I know I've seen this movie, but I did not remember a fucking lick of it. And now, now that I know the references that I was doing in it as well, like, and because there's a lot of strangely, perhaps inappropriately mature humor in this that kind of permeates it.
Get to that.
Yeah. So, and which is kind of
ending, dude.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
And it's like
he's back.
dude, like what was that? It was so weird. So like things like that, I'm kind of into that and also sort of stunned by it. But the way I feel about this movie is I kind of agree with you. Like the first half kind of chugs along pretty nicely.
Yeah, it's fun.
And the way I feel about this movie is that the script obviously sucks dick. It's such trash. But really the directing is actually, it's like they tried kind of hard to make this work. And like the scene settings and like the dynamics.
The effects are cool.
Yeah, and like the way the things that the ghosts do is actually entertaining.
Right.
But the other problem is that some of the performances are just really horrible.
Yeah.
So like
I love Bill Pullman. He's not very good at this movie.
Talk about a poor casting choice.
Yeah, I agree. They should have casted
like he worked really hard to try to pull off that role, but like it just didn't work.
I like Bill Pullman, like I just like him, but like
the thing for me, he was supposed to be this goofy, awkward dad, but I still find him to be like a charismatic stud. Like I still watch him and it's like, dude, I want to be him, even though he's the lamest guy on screen, or he's supposed to be. It's like I still want to be Bill Pullman because he's cool.
Oh my god!
But dude, it was such. It was fun to watch. It was really fun to watch.
Getting to the point so when they get to the house, the part that I genuinely think is fun and enjoyable to watch is the uncles like messing with Will Pullman and you know
Right at the beginning,
like
you mean?
yeah, it was fun. It's haunted house shit. It's cool, fun, silly haunted house shit with cool practical effects and ghosts and shit. And there's one joke that absolutely killed me where I think it was Stinky, where he said they were eating a meal and he said it's like Oprah's on a vacation. I was like, that's funny. They called Oprah fat. That's
Yeah.
funny. But Casper himself, he's cute, I guess. But the thing about him is that he wants to bang Christina Ricci's character.
That was the weirdest
I
thing.
don't I
So
don't understand why they did that.
that was so
Well, it
weird.
makes sense considering the ending, which is fucking bananas. But like why? Like why do you have he looks like a baby. Like he looks like a baby. He looks like a
Hey,
fucking 4-year-old. And he's like, I
hey,
like
Alex.
you.
Alex,
Mm.
can I keep you?
No. Can I keep you? What the fuck does that mean?
Can I
Dude,
keep
when he
you?
first when he first said that in the movie, I was like
Because he said it. He said
Jesus.
it when she was laying in bed, half
I was
asleep, and he
reminded
was
that.
like leaning into her ear. Can I
Can I
keep you?
keep you? I was like, what? Like, I was like, wait, oh my god, wait, you're a ghost. Wait, keep, you mean, you're gonna, possess her? And, what's gonna happen? It just became so dark. It's like, whoever wrote that line is a fucking idiot.
Such a weirdo.
Completely, was that supposed to mean, can I keep you as a friend? Can I keep you as
Yeah.
someone to be around? But, that's no one, who in the fuck says shit like that?
Which is also weird because like when you say things like that and you add in that there's sort of like this attractive love story component to this, which unfortunately there is, then it gets into this really weird kind of sexist possessive thing of like men possessing women. And that like just is like so
That's
uncomfortable
really
when you're
weird.
dealing with 12-year-olds.
Unintentionally doing that.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. It's supposed
and
to be sweet, but it's just so creepy.
yeah, it's creepy. I don't understand why they did that. Why can't they just
Yeah.
be friends? Just
Yeah.
have a good relationship.
Yeah.
Why do they have to fucking
No,
want to
no.
have young love,
It
dude?
has to be love. It
Dude, one
has
of
to be
my
love.
notes, one of my notes that I wrote on here was, LOL stinky. What else did I write? Oh, can I talk about? We're just rambling, but
Yeah.
okay, I need to discuss this scene with you.
Yeah.
Uh, there was a scene. I just need to clarify if this is what happened. I might be wrong, but when Christina Ricci's character, I don't remember her name, the main girl
Cat.
in the movie,
Her name's
Kat,
Cat.
she's fine, but
Good actress.
she, dude, when she faints when she meets Casper, and Casper goes to the sink, and he fills
Oh
himself up with
yeah.
water. Dude, it looked like he peed on her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Did he not pee on her?
Well, like the way I got, which this is still, it's still
Because I
really gross.
rewinded that shit, I
Yeah.
rewind. I was like, dude, did he just spit water on her? Dude, no, 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 no. Nothing came out of his fucking mouth, He went, he went, he was dropping water out of his tail.
Yeah. Yeah. The idea
Which
of it, I think,
means
was
I pissed on her.
yeah, basically, and that's dude, that's a great point because that's kind of what it translates to. Because I think the idea is that Casper can turn into any object, right? So he used himself as a ghost to like suck up water like a rag, which doesn't make sense why he could do that, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah,
But
but it didn't look like that.
he wrings himself out like a dish towel
Yeah,
to wipe the water on
what a
him. But it looks
weird.
like it's
What if
more
the
like he
director
peed
is
on
like,
her.
all right, what do we want Casper to do? Okay,
Pee on her.
I wanted to turn him to a rag. I wanted to get the water. I was like, why don't just get a bucket? And just
Yeah.
like, you really want to do this water gag,
Yeah.
not make it look like he's peeing on her. Anyway, I just need to clarify
Yeah.
that was maybe that was happening, or maybe it wasn't happening.
Dude, yeah, there's a lot of just kind of weird shit that just sort of missed the marks like that. That just ends up, it's like it's supposed to be sort of, not to say that this movie works, but Inspector Gadget kind of goofy. But with Inspector Gadget, it doesn't work, but you clearly understand what's happening. But a lot of times
I'll say straight up, that movie's worse than this movie.
see
Inspector
that movie
Gadget is
that movie
shit.
really sucks.
That movie is ass. Yeah. Yeah, I fucking hate that movie.
Dude, remember when there's a doppelganger and he's like,
could we watch that together?
I think we've watched scenes of that. I don't think we've actually watched the whole thing.
Bro.
That'd be fun to rewatch that. I'd like that movie.
That movie is
Talk about it.
Big pile of ass.
When you were watching Casper, I was actually watching Inspector Gadget. Probably. I watched Inspector Gadget a lot.
Inspector Gadget a lot when I was a kid, dude. I loved it.
Okay.
It was shot in Pittsburgh.
Oh, dude, that's right. Dude,
you know the fight at the end?
Yeah. You told me about that. We watched that scene and you told me about that. Oh, that's the scene with the doppelganger.
Yeah, that movie was the first movie I saw. Like, I was like, wait, they make movies in the place that I live?
Yeah.
I recognize the brains and shit, but
yeah, Inspector Gadget is bad.
Also very bad. But I also had another thing related to another movie that it seemed like this movie was copying of. One of my favorite movies of all time is Who Framed Roger Rabbit. The fucking uncle ghosts, while I really enjoyed them, seemed so, they were trying so hard to be the weasels from that movie.
Oh,
like
shit,
one of them
you're
straight
right.
up had like the same cadence.
Dude,
accent,
you're so right.
Like everything. Like
yeah.
They weren't like, they were troublemakers. They each had a personality. It just seemed like they were just going for that. But that also is like a cartoon trope where
but I feel like this movie,
I got such a weasel vibe from that.
Dude, no, you're totally right about that. I agree with you 100%. And I think that this movie, the reason why it works, which is actually clever, is that it just takes a lot of really tropey ideas and puts it in this really good branding of being like this Halloween film for kids.
Yeah.
And it's like that works, you know? It's just like because you don't have to be original. You just have to make something that has the things that connect with people, which is like funny bad guys who, like, again, those guys were like actually compelling, and the voice actors actually had some like synergy between each other. Like they were but the problem was, the problem with
this movie is the last 30 minutes.
Well,
what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why do you know what happened?
It goes so weird.
I watched that last night. I have no clue what happened.
So there's a point. I feel like this movie started with a climax too. I feel like it started with the ending of the movie where Bill Pullman's character was fighting like the ghosts, and that's like usually climax material, like of the movie.
Like fighting the uncles.
Yeah, and it's like, and then after that
was fun stuff.
Dude, and then but after that, the next day, then we have we have development that happened off screen that's completely confusing, and then it just continues to get progressively more and more confusing after that.
Dude, holy shit. So, I know when the movie really derails for me, like in terms of like, okay, I can't really enjoy this movie anymore because I have no idea what the fuck is going on. Is when they introduce, I don't know why they fucking did this, but they introduce her going to school, and there's this Halloween dance.
Yeah, dude.
And then Vic. I don't care about Vic.
Shut up, stupid Vic.
I don't care about Vic.
Yeah,
I don't care about the ghosts. I'm here to see Casper.
Yeah.
I don't care about Vic. And so when they introduce that, she's like, "You can have it at my house." What is this?
Yeah.
But
dude, that's actually it's a good point. Like, why would they develop the school more than 45 minutes into the movie?
Yeah, exactly. And then this is when the movie literally falls apart. One of my favorite scenes in the movie, because it's just so dark, is Casper is like, when he's talking about how he died.
Yeah.
Like, bro. Wait, I have the line up here. Hold on.
You mean like when he was talking about the sled?
Dude, no. He goes, Christina Cat goes, she goes, what was it like to die? He goes, it's like being born, but backwards. I was like, I was like, I was like, I was sitting in this chair, and I was sitting back, and I was like, when he said that, I literally was like, damn. Casper's dropping knowledge, dude. Like being born, but like backwards. Like, dude,
There
whoa.
was a couple of moments in here where it didn't seem like the script. The
But then
thing
he talks about how he's like, I didn't want my dad to be lonely. It's like, bro, what is going on?
Yeah, there was a couple moments like that in the script where it seems like sometimes when there's like bad movies or family films where people phoned it in, like you can tell. But this movie feels like a guy who didn't really know what he was doing, and he really tried to make something profound. Because there was another thing. You remember when the lady who owns the house was like, "Oh, and I huffed and I puffed and they didn't leave, so I've got to get some other people through here." And they kind of like tie in. There's like moments, weird moments like that, where they try to cleverly tie in these references. It seemed like they were desperately trying to tie in references. Like, dude, please don't look at the depth of this and just remember this funny reference to this outside. Like they just tried to Family Guy the fuck out of it to save it.
But so my point, absolutely. And then, what after that scene when him and Cat had this like heart to heart, he's like, I good deal, like I don't know, but and then she builds him. Oh my god, she like rebuilds. He doesn't have any memories, and then when she rebuilds, uh.
Oh yeah, his toy
And
collection.
he goes up to the train and goes, Hootie! So I guess his train is named Hootie, Hootie, Hootie.
Hootie.
And so after that, he's like, wait, I remember everything now. My dad was an inventor. He made a machine. I was like,
Yeah.
wait,
What?
wait, and then, dude, it's actually in the basement, and they go into this hole. It turns into fucking Hot and Next in the ride. Just
Yeah.
fucking like, and it like turns into fucking Scooby Doo movie where it's like this whole house has a whole contraption in it.
Yeah.
A fucking machine down there that turns ghosts into brings them back from the dead, and then they were like, what the fuck? And this is all happening. Like the last like 30 minutes, and I was like, bro, where is this coming? Like, dude, this is out of goddamn
Nowhere.
nowhere.
I also love
They
that
had
all.
they had the red goo that
Yeah, it became a major like item in
yeah.
the film. I also love that since this movie was made in the 90s, they had to build all of that shit for real. Like that
cool,
exists.
It's a cool set. Like,
Yeah, that's yeah.
Like I was dying. Like when the machine was doing all the thing, I'm like, what a waste of money this was. Like makes no sense. Like think about like all the effort that went into building this fucking ghost machine that
Yeah.
ends up having no just this out of nowhere scene.
Yeah.
Movie that oh god,
Dude, and you know the other funny thing that I thought was hilarious, because this is when like some of the mature shit starts to pop in, because after that point then you add in the plot device of Casper wanting to turn human, which is not what any of the rest of the movie has been about
dude,
at all.
that's why this is like they introduced a whole movie.
Yeah, right. And but then to be able to make that like an interesting goal, they had to contest it. So they just start killing people off.
Yeah.
You know, they, like the way they killed two people from huge drops, and on screen they just straight up fall to their death.
I died. Dude, also like who was that? lady ghost. Who was that?
The lady ghost?
Yeah,
That was the lady who owns the mansion. She's the person who inherited
I
that.
didn't even get that. I was like, who is this lady? Like, I was like,
dude,
so confused.
It's because she was in the beginning, right? And they established that to get to the house, and then they dropped her and the Monty Python character for the whole fucking movie, and then they reintroduced it right at the point where they introduced the goo, and they're like, "Oh, we're important characters now," but we hadn't seen shit. We haven't seen them at all for 45 minutes.
Can't just throw a curveball.
Dude, but I love it. One of my favorite shots, which blew me away because it was just like, okay, they're gonna have to kill. Like, I understand where they're going with this, where this terrible duo of the Monty Python guy and the woman, one of them has to die to progress this plot that they have for some reason decided to go down. And I was really curious to see how they were going to do that, because they initially started where the woman just started trying to murder this man. Alex, do you realize how crazy that is? It turned into, she had an axe and she started swinging it at him. And they were trying to play off this murder as but the way they killed her off, Alex, she ran her road off a cliff and she walked out of the car and you saw her fall. You saw her body fall in a long shot. You saw her body fall off the fucking cliff. Like, what the fuck?
It was a horror movie.
And dude, I was astounded when they did that and followed it up with "the bitch is back" immediately after that.
and then Bill Pullman's getting drunk with the uncles. Like, what is going on right now, yo?
The cliff too. That scene. Like, that's so crazy.
Fucking weird. And then as all of this is happening, the whole school shows up in the house. And they're like, it's time for the party. And she's like, what? Then fucking Casper turns into Thicc.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that is what happened. I love how confusing that is.
Music. It's like they walk up to a jukebox, 1995, and we're like, when I initially started watching that scene, I thought that Casper was singing it. I was like, this movie, if that happened, this movie would be a 10 out of 10. Like,
dude,
without even a doubt.
Wow.
This movie's fucking awesome. So,
I was so curious to see. I'm glad that you feel exactly the same way as I do. Oh man. It was
my notes are so funny.
Read some of them.
I cannot wrap my head around what the fuck is happening. This movie completely fell apart. Wow. And then I said, "Can I keep you? What the fuck? Casper was Vic? What?"
I think that
that is true.
No.
Like Vic.
No.
It's exactly like Vic.
Dude, it's a great point. You make a great point.
Big, white boy with blonde hair. He looked exactly like him.
Dude, it's true. It's true.
I thought it was Vic.
You're the point you make.
Until Cat was like, Casper. He was like, no.
Yeah, dude.
That you?
And he whispers it in her ear.
And then they smooch.
Yeah, that is actually a really good confusion.
4 years old.
Yeah.
He looks like a baby.
And it's weird. It's weird because of the disconnect where the voice. I think that's the voice actor who played Casper, the kid at the end. But
that's kind of cool, I guess.
It's so obvious that he's a much better voice actor than he is actor because he's such a fucking block of wood when he walks onto stream. And
yeah, fuck you, kid.
Like he's fine as Casper, you know. He worked hard to create. The character has flaws, but that's not necessarily his fault, right? that other people told him what to say.
It's all his fault.
Oh,
it's on the actor's duty to come up with the best character that they could come up with.
Yeah, you know what's
also 5-year-old brain.
You know what's also oh dude, you also remember how the mom comes back in that moment too?
Yeah, I hated that.
She comes down.
So weird.
Are you an angel?
The way that they talk to each other is like, what's happening? Like,
yeah,
their dialogue is so fucking weird.
It's very weird, and I think.
And then it ends with a Little Richard song that we played in the beginning.
Yeah.
Of this podcast, and a dance number, like any great movie, like Garfield, Scooby-Doo, all these iconic movies, they always end with a dance number. That means it's a classic, straight up.
You know what's weird? It's interesting. It's interesting because, you know, these movies obviously all have a formula, but this movie somehow, it's like they tried to like they had their own idea, and then the second half, the original second half didn't work, and they just tried to insert the formula with the second half, but the first half didn't really match the second half, the formulaic second half.
The first half is just this like fun haunted house movie.
Yeah. And then they're like, shit, I don't know what's doing. Let's just do Scooby-Doo.
It just gets so dark for like no reason. Out of nowhere. Like, yeah. It's like they was like, man, we gotta spend this money somehow. Let's just make the fucking they went ape shit with the practical effects of this movie. Yeah. For like no reason. Like they didn't have to have this chair like fucking Haunted Mansion, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
you didn't have to do this. It's also, you know, a disturbing fact is how Casper still has unresolved business.
What do you mean unresolved?
So like the reason, so you know how they dealt with the bitch, because I can't remember any other name for this woman, and it's kind of it's a bad way to remember her by. But you know, but that's
pretty funny coming off of our alien though.
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny.
But that the way that she died, they defeated her, was they tricked her into realizing that she didn't have any unfinished business, because that's what the ghost therapist, that's what Bill Pullman does. He works through so ghosts can pass over and become angels or whatever, and they don't have to deal with their unfinished business anymore. So this movie ends unfucking-solved, right? Yeah, just for the sequel. But think about, that's kind of disturbing.
I don't know.
Casper ends the movie as a ghost stuck in fucking purgatory just because he's cute.
Just because he's cute, dude.
Poor Casper. He's in hell. He's trapped there.
Casper's in hell. Yeah, bye-bye.
This is like, dude, we could let Casper go to heaven.
We should just get blazingly stoned one night.
Yeah.
And write a Casper movie. You know? Sit down and be like, all right, what's our take on Casper? And just
dude,
crank it out.
That dude, if we ever like run a Thicc and Butter screenwriting course or something.
Yeah, we're bringing that Casper. We're getting the fucking rights. We're giving Casper right. We're gonna do you right, buddy.
But that's going to be our writing assignment. That's our writing assignment to the class. It's like, Casper? What's your take on Casper?
Yeah, right. Casper, Danny Phantom crossover mixed with Scooby-Doo, 3 properties into one masterpiece.
Go.
2 hour, 45-minute, you know, Dawn of Justice Garner movie that expands our ghost universe.
You know, dude, I think we have something with this.
Yeah.
I think we should make sure that this doesn't get too far away of us, or someone
presents.
Yeah.
Casper,
hey, if you see any shit like this on the screen,
you ain't shit. You ain't seen shit like this. That's good. Or Casper, we're doing it right, bitch.
Yeah. Oh man.
So anyway,
I think that's Casper, man. I think we talked about it through and
Yeah,
through,
this
up
is
and
definitely
down,
a
left and right.
Halloween classic.
Dude, would you call this? Is this thick and butter approved? It's kind of like too so bad it's good. It's kind of like that.
Kinda. I mean,
It's really
it's a
creepy.
it's a
Eva
goofy.
popped her head in and she's like, "Fuck no, dude, fuck no." She was genuinely disturbed by
This
Casper's
doesn't have the thick and
creepiness.
butter stamp of approval, then I guess.
No,
We're not
no,
allowed to get it.
yeah. It's like it's not quite. I feel
It's
dirty.
almost there.
It's almost there. The problem with it is dude. There's so many problems with it. It's just not. It's not like Theodore Rex, where I love to hate that. I kind of hate myself if I were to
No,
love to
this
hate
movie
this.
isn't horribly made.
No,
Theodore Rex.
it is horribly made. That's
Horribly made.
true.
There is
Yeah.
a man in a dinosaur suit in that movie that is being puppeteered like that they thought that looked good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
At least Casper looks presentable. You
Yeah. At
know?
least he
He
does.
is butt naked. That's pretty weird.
Yeah, that is
You know?
weird. It is
His
weird that
little
he's
tummy.
butt
He
fucking
looks
naked.
like a Pillsbury Doughboy.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
You know, I might be wrong about this, but I believe Casper and the Pillsbury Doughboy had a good old crossover commercial, if I remember correctly.
I think you might be
They seem
right.
like cousins or
You
lovers,
know, dude, were there Casper cookies?
for
I think
sure.
there were Casper
For
cookies. I
sure.
think I remember eating like Casper
For sure.
shit.
Do you think they're lovers?
Dude, yes, absolutely.
Pillsbury Doughboy and
That
Casper.
if
And
Casper was
then,
walking down the street and he saw Pillsbury Doughboy, he wouldn't jump on that shit?
of course not.
He
I
would
wouldn't.
jump on Pillsbury Doughboy way faster than he jumped on
And
Cat.
then their pimp is the Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters.
Yeah, dude.
They're all related.
That is a
And then,
supreme
and
trifecta.
then the Michelin Man is right behind it. Dude, how about the
Sure.
fucking Dan Aykroyd cameo? We didn't even
Yeah,
talk
that
about
was
that.
really interesting.
The
That was
fuck was
really
that?
that was really random.
It's like they called. It was like, yeah, you wanna? It's like, yeah, it was the most random shit ever. It was so awful.
Also, they fucked up their one thing they had to do because they had him come out and say, "Who you gonna call? Someone else."
I
All they had
fucking
to
hate it.
say,
I hate it. I hate
all
it.
they
I
had to
hate it.
do
I hate it. I hate
to
it. I hate it. I hate it.
make that not stupid was just say, "Call someone else." That scene would have worked so much better if he
Okay.
just said that.
If I was gonna go on a rant about Ghostbusters and how that property's been handled since the first one,
Yeah,
I might fucking explode.
yeah,
So I'm not gonna get into that. But
yeah,
all I'm gonna say is the first one is amazing. Stop.
yeah.
Stop making Ghostbusters movies. It was lightning in a bottle. It shouldn't have worked. It was an insane movie that somehow worked, and it's a classic. All the other ones suck big dick. They're horrible. Please stop. Please. It's not a property worth exploring.
Yeah,
Just stop. If
yeah.
Bill Murray isn't in it, eat a dick. That's what I say. Jesus.
Oh,
Anyway,
yeah.
Dan
Un-
Aykroyd's also insane, so don't listen to his ideas.
yeah.
And if you
Uh,
want to see how insane he is, watch him on the Joe Rogan podcast. Pretty entertaining.
oh, dude, I would love to see that
It
actually.
is. He is a wackadoodle, but
I'll
one of
definitely
the
check that
funniest
out.
people on the planet. But he is insane.
You
Anyway,
know, another really interesting cameo scene, which you mentioned this, was where we saw that one scene where the
fucking
literally like $500 million scene was
dude,
with Clint Eastwood, Mel
yeah,
Gibson,
Clint
that other
Eastwood,
guy.
Clint fucking
Eastwood.
Eastwood, dude. Like when that happened, I was like, that can't be him.
Yeah.
That's gotta be like they could have. I mean, deep fakes weren't around then. I mean, like
No,
that had to be
yeah.
him, right?
Yeah, it had to, I think
Dude,
it wasn't CGI. We could
how did
see what
that
the
call?
CGI looked like in
What
the
did
movie.
that call? Dude, Clint Eastwood, one of those badass Hollywood people. Period. How did that call come down? Spielberg must have called him up. And then like, Clint, like, want to do a cameo in this Casper the Friendly Ghost movie.
Yeah.
It's so crazy that Clint was like, yeah, I'll do it. Like,
It was either
what?
that. It
This
was either
man made
that.
Gran Torino. He made Unforgiven. It was fucking brutally, like, what?
Yeah.
He's
Or it
never
was
had a
like,
family movie in the day in his life.
or it was
Each
like
one of his movies are
his.
R fucking rated, except the one that he did with a monkey. I might be wrong about that. I think he did a, I think he did a monkey movie.
Oh no, they're just one of those monkey movies.
Every actor has one,
Everyone
every
has
legend
one.
has one. They had that weird animal movie that they signed on to do, talking
Yeah,
animals.
dude, it does happen. It happens
I
a
don't blame the guy,
surprising amount.
I
Yeah.
get to work with a chimp. That sounds cool, you know? What's it
Dude.
called? Space Monkey? Yeah, I'll be in it. Sure. I have to look that up now. I feel like I might be, I feel like, I remember looking through his filmography once and I'm like, oh my god, he did a movie with a monk.
Oh,
I
speaking
can't.
of weird filmographies, do you realize that Bill Pullman was in Lost Highway?
Yeah, he's the star of Bill Cole. He's the star.
I like to think that David Lynch saw Casper. I
Casper.
don't know which was the order of this, and he's like, "That's my man."
That's hilarious. I hope he did. It was either that
Or
or
whoever saw Lost Highway was like, "I need him in Casper."
right.
When did Lost Highway even come out? This is a good
19
question. 97.
90s, yeah.
97. And
Hmm.
Casper. Oh, dude. Dude, he made Casper and then Lost Highway like in 2 years after that. Lost Highway, that might
Oh,
have been like the thing he did right after
dude, that's
Casper.
hilarious.
Can you imagine the internal emotions of a person who was on set for Casper and then just switched to Lost Highway?
No.
Wow. What a
Okay,
difference.
I did some research. Clint Eastwood never did a monkey movie.
Oh, fuck.
Wait a minute. There might have been a monkey in Space Cowboys.
Man, this is some deep research you're doing. This is some look at that, man.
Tommy Lee.
Oh,
Anyway.
what an incredible
But
boy.
yeah, he's credited in Casper.
Yeah. I mean, he's
So
legit
he's
in it.
in it. So it was Clint Eastwood, Dan Aykroyd, Mel Gibson, and then there's another guy, right? Who was in it?
The guy from Happy Gilmore, the comedian from Happy Gilmore.
Oh,
The guy with the bug eyes. You know, he makes a lot of like sex jokes and stuff, and he has like a really deep, fat voice.
he played Chubbs?
Chubbs? Yeah, yeah. He's like the.
Was he a black guy?
Hang on, no. Hang on, I'm on. Not Happy Gilmore, dude. Sorry, it's in the Gopher movie with Bill
Adam
Murray.
Sandler?
Yeah, not it's the movie with Bill Murray. Not Groundhog Day. Oh my God,
Caddyshack. Rodney
Caddyshack.
Dangerfield. Dude,
Yes,
that
yes.
blew my mind even more. When Roger Dangerfield showed up, I'm like, he was alive? In 1995? I'm like, what the fuck? Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, it was Rodney Dangerfield, Clint Eastwood, and Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
What the fuck
Wow.
is that shortlist like?
Yeah.
You gotta get these three people, and three people only.
Yeah. And the weird thing,
Any other ones, it has to happen in that order, and if not, the scene is a wash.
and the thing is about that scene is like that's a cool shot. It's a really fucking cool shot because it's like morphing between faces and stuff. Even that whole like scene not after they cut away from that shot, but that whole scene, that segment of Bill Pullman coming up to like the table and morphing between those faces is like that's really interesting, but it doesn't make any sense at all.
No, it's just a gag.
It just it's so it's
Remember
just
the fucking ghost going to his stomach.
yeah, but like why is that what happens when ghosts go into your stomach? That you change into Clint Eastwood, Roger Dangerfield, and
listen to me. Listen to me. I'll tell you right now.
Why?
The writers, listen, they didn't care about their ghost logic, right? It was just like, listen, ghosts aren't real, so we can do whatever we want with the ghosts.
Yeah,
That's the answer, Jesse.
that's a
There's
good
no
answer.
right or wrong answer.
Or they got
They
their
wanted Clint Eastwood in their movie.
yeah.
And how do you do it? There you go.
There you go.
Ghost morphs into Clint Eastwood.
This movie is not thick and butter approved. Come on.
Not Clint Eastwood.
Thick and
Butter.
thick
Thick
and
and
not thick and
not Clint Eastwood
butter
approved.
approved.
Nailed it. All right.
No
That
good.
was my first Halloween selection for October.
Yeah.
What will we be discussing and watching for our viewing pleasure next week, Jesse?
You know, I've been going through. There's been a couple of films that I've been thinking about, but actually, this episode, I have decided what I want to watch. You know what it is? It's going to be It Follows.
It Follows. That's a great, cool.
Yeah.
Another great Halloween. It's not Halloween, right?
I don't know if it's set in Halloween.
I'm getting the guest confused because the same
Yeah.
actress is in it.
Oh yeah.
Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a spooky movie.
It is.
Find
Yeah.
out It Follows, a cult horror classic of our time. We should totally discuss it. I'm excited to rewatch it because I haven't
Yeah.
seen it in a couple of years. And I like Under the Silver Lake a lot. So
Right. Same director. That's the
Yeah.
connection.
So I need to rewatch it, and I'm excited. And next week will be It Follows, that came out in 2014.
Wow.
I don't know if it's on any streaming services. Figure it out. Watch it, motherfucker.
It was on.
It
was. It might be on Hulu.
Is it?
I don't know.
You lied.
I have it on Blu-ray. I don't care.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah, fuck you guys.
Yeah, all you guys. If you guys want to see it, fuck off. I don't care.
Pirate it on YouTube. I don't care.
Yeah, do that. Maybe. I don't care.
Oh, good fuck.
But you know what is readily available for a discount on Amazon Video is Casper. It's only $1.99.
Yes, a discount. It's only $2,
which is literally the only Amazon digital video I've ever seen be on discount. I've never seen another one happen.
During the spooky season, dude.
Yeah, but they only Casper.
Amazon wants to give back to the people, and they know that Casper isn't happening, so they thought, might as well discount it, you know?
I feel like
I'm just glad we didn't watch Hocus Pocus. I fucking hate that movie. You know, that's like another like family oriented Halloween movie. I hated that movie.
I never saw it.
Used to watch it. I'm like, I would like run out of the room if it was on. I hated it.
You know, I've never seen it. It never really attracted me that much.
The witches I found to be so annoying.
Yeah.
That's a hot take. That's a big old cult classic for people.
I know that movie. That movie is beloved. People love that movie. No comment from you, boy. No comment.
Anyway,
I think that's it.
Episode 72. Casper the Friendly Ghost.
Tell your mom about Casper. Tell your dad about Casper. Tell your 3 uncles: Stinky, Stretch, Fatso, Dan Aykroyd, Clint Eastwood. All of those uncles about Casper. Tell your significant others, guests. Guests?
Guests. Your cow's udders.
Go talk to your cow. We like animals on this podcast. We've talked about this before. We need more animal representation on here. Parrots and reptiles, especially. I'm sure we have a few dogs, so we're looking to branch out a little bit into more exotic animals. So hopefully Casper will be the thing that will get us there.
Yes.
That's all I have to say.
That's all I gotta say. All right, take us away, little Richard. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Casper, the friendly ghost. Casper, the friendly ghost. Casper.